Welcome back to this episode of Homebuilt Workshop. Today we're going to make a quick and simple miter sled for cutting miters on the table saw. So this project comes a little bit out of disgust for my current ways of doing things. I'm in the middle of building a few jigs for a project that my daughter and I are going to do together, and part of that involves me making some miters to wrap out a piece of plywood. It's really only a decorative element for the piece. It's a jig. It really doesn't need to be wrapped out with some hardwood, but I want it to look a little bit nicer rather than just having the bare edges of the plywood. In the past, I've had pretty good luck using my miter gauge with my blade tip to 45 degrees, or using a speed square and sliding it along the edge of my saw to make the miter cuts. It's worked out pretty decent. A couple of trial and error pieces and I'm off and running. I can usually get pretty decent results. But for some reason, this time I cannot get the miters to come out for nothing, and it's super frustrating. I'll begin by ripping down a piece of 3/4 inch plywood to a more manageable width. Then I'm going to take some of my mistakes from the earlier miters and I'm going to rip those pieces down to become the runners that will fit into the table saw slots. And finally, I'll cross-cut this piece of white oak down to pieces that'll become the fence that'll make up the sled. First, I'll take some spacers of the same width and drop them down into the slots. This will hold the runners up off the bottom to allow me to attach the sled to it. Now I'll just apply some wood glue to the runners. I'll set the piece of plywood on top of it. I'm not super worried at this point that the sled be perfectly square to the tabletop. I'm just kind of lining it up by eye. The important part is going to be the fence, which we're going to attach once this glue's dry. Do you like my little fort of randomness to act as a clamp? Hey, sometimes you just use what you have around, make everything and anything you can work for what you need. Once the glue is set up, now my sled slides nice and smooth. There's no rocking from side to side, and I feel pretty good that we can move on with the next step. For the next step, I need to attach these oak pieces that are going to be the fences that I'll be able to hold my piece against when making the cuts. In order to locate those, I'm placing the sled about midway to where I would be making a cut, just kind of by eye. I'm going to turn on the saw with the blade lowered and slowly raise it up so that it comes through the sled. This will give me a mark and I'll know exactly where I need to line these fences up. Now I'll just extend that line to the back of the sled. These two 45-degree angles, I want to remove this material so that when I glue these on, the pieces come together in a nice point. Now using a square, I'll align my rails on my pencil line. I'll double check it with a speed square just to make sure I'm centered. Then I'll just glue the rails down. This plate of steel is really heavy. Now I'll trim off some of the excess length on the runners. And a test cut, just because I'm impatient. So now the sled slides really well and I can actually use it, but I kind of wanted to add a little bit of reinforcement to the back. I want to add a strip of wood across the back just to give the sled a little bit of rigidity, just in case I cut a little bit too deep. I don't want the two sections to kind of flop around at all. I've got the off-cut of plywood and also a little piece of hardwood that I'll use to reinforce that area. Now I'm going to use the miter sled to make the miter sled. Is that weird or something? Now just glue those support pieces in place. Now all that's left to do is to put this thing to work. Now it's super easy to get nice 90-degree miter joints. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. I am really happy with the way this sled turned out. It is not a complicated project at all, and there are tons and tons of videos on YouTube showing you how to build ones that are even simpler than this, or super elaborate fancy ones with adjustable T-tracks and all kinds of fancy bells and whistles that would definitely be awesome. So if you're looking to build one of these, definitely spend a little bit of time looking at different ideas and figure out what exactly you need on your sled and what you don't need, and go ahead and build your own. One more thing I may do in the future is maybe put some of those toggle clamps on these rails here so that I can clamp down small parts and keep my fingers still farther away from the blade. Right now I don't have any good way to hold those. I guess you could clamp a piece on there somehow, but I think I might do that. I'm not sure yet. I want to use this a few times and see if that is something that I want or not. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any episodes. And if you didn't know, I do have a second YouTube channel. It's more of a behind the scenes channel where I talk about stuff that's going on and projects that I'm working on. It's not really any builds going on over there, but if you're interested in some behind the scenes stuff, go ahead and subscribe to Inside Home Built Workshop as well. There's a link down below in the description, as well as links to all my social media networks. You can look me up on your favorite one and we'll connect over there. Also, if you're interested, head on over to my website, homebuiltworkshop.com. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Oh boy, just getting ready to do the beginning part of this video. Guess who's back? Trash truck. Of course. So we'll wait. Chad, I told you I'd break out the pins somewhere just for you. You know what would work really good for a heavy weight to set on top of this? The belt grinder. But I don't want to carry that over there and set it on here. That would hold it down. It wouldn't go anywhere.